know, you mentioned, Mr. Palaga, you brought up an issue which I would like to go into a little more deeply. I'd like to ask each one of you a 1-minute question. And Mr. Palaga, we'll start with you, and that's impact fees. Our county has never really come up with a good way to assess developers a fee that would help the county pay for the roads, the infrastructure that obviously get more used when new development goes in. And this is a practice that is actually followed by most municipalities throughout America. Anybody who wants to understand more about the impact fee issue should read Flickinger's really good editorial in last Saturday's West White Today. Now, recently the County Council voted on having impact fees for developers that would have standardized the system. Ms. Ford, Mr. Hoffman, Mr. Jacobson voted for impact fees. You, Mr. Palaga, voted against. Please tell us why. 1 minute only.
I'm a strong proponent of the impact fee ordinance. The reason that I voted against it was because I wanted new amendments inserted in that to make it a better and more improved and a fairer bill. And certainly that will happen. I did not feel jeopardized at the county council level to vote no, to express my concern and express my interest to begin and open up the dialogue processes. All it does is it moves on to full council through routine with a negative recommendation for additional discussion. But the impact fees are critically important in that legally it must be put in place. Our county has been negligent in not applying the impact fees. But we also need to balance that if the fees to the residents and the private homeowners is too exorbitant at this time, if it's something we can alleviate and take the pressure off our residents, I certainly feel it's time that we hold off with the impact fees unless some new amendments are added in.
Thank you, Mr. Palaga. Before we go to Mr. Canoy, I'd like to give you 30 more seconds. You mentioned you voted against the impact fee bill because it needs amendments. What specific amendments in 30 seconds, and what's being done to make that happen?
Thank you for the question. What I think we need to do is lower the percentage. We're running the national average of 12,000 at 50%. The current impact fee as presented is running at 6,000 for homeowners and residents. There's room to bargain that down to 10 or 20%, that's one. There are other things that we can add in how to assess, the timing of assessments. These things need to be embedded to make sure we can meet our infrastructure needs, yet still be fair to the residents.
Thank you, Mr. Palago. Now, Mr. Canoy, you're not on the County Council. You did not have a chance to vote on the impact fee bill, but we'd like to give you 1 minute to comment on impact fees, whether this is something you would advocate.
Well, clearly the impact fee bill was to address the issue of that's currently the fair share assessment, which hasn't worked to the benefit of members of our community because we haven't seen the infrastructure being built that was supposed to be attached per the fair share assessment. The impact fees is supposed to address the impact on the quality of life and government services, roads, police, fire, parks and recreation, and solid waste. Every building permit that somebody pulls, you'd have an assessment based on all of those impacts for that building or for that home. I would have voted against that impact fee bill as it was proposed because I didn't think that it's the time for it in our tough economy, in our declining economy. We want people working and we want people, local folks, to build their homes. But developers who come in should be assessed for large projects that impact fee based on their project and its impact on our community.
Thank you very much.